Welcome back, guys. It's Chevy, and we'll be playing Friday the 13th. This time, I will be playing as Tiffany. So, just a quick little rundown of what her stats look like. So, her biggest strengths are going to be her stealth and her stamina. She will have decent speed. She's around a 6, so she's better than at least the average. Now, one of her downsides, which is a really big problem for me, is her repair is a 1. It's the lowest it could possibly be. Now, that means that basically your main objective as a Tiffany is really to be one of those people that runs to find the parts to escape in the boat, in the vehicle, or the fuse, and dump them off to higher repair characters. Because when I say she is bad at it, she's really bad at it. So we'll be playing on Camp Crystal Lake Small this time around, and we'll see how we do with Tiffany. Obviously, I had to get out of my comfort zone since she's a very different character to what I'm used to normally playing. Obviously, depending on the perks that you give her, she can be a really good asset. And match starting in 3, 2, 1, and let's see how it goes. Alrighty, so here we are. Now, normally, obviously, the first thing we do, run into the closest cabin, just for easy's sake. Obviously, someone was really close to me, so that's good. I always love to fortify these doors. I know some people just kind of throw them open and leave it that way. I tend not to do that. So here I have found the fuse. Now, obviously, being Tiffany, this is not necessarily a good thing since the repair is so low. I'm going to end up being more of a liability by trying to repair it myself. So my main advice to do for people is obviously when you get the fuse, and if you know you're not going to repair it and that's not something that you want to do, please drop it as soon as you can near the outside or around the area. Simply because if you pay attention to the way that things spawn, the fuse box itself will always spawn in the vicinity of that area. It's a little quadrant of where it's going to be, so it's usually those adjacent cabins, which means that obviously I need to move away as quickly as possible because that means that Jason is likely to target that area. Now, I still have the fuse. I'm trying to see if potentially I can run into it and kind of just dump it off and find it. Now, some of the pros about being Tiffany is obviously since she has very similar stat lines to Vanessa, she can get away very easily. Her luck is a little bit better, and her strength is still weak compared to what I would like it to be for a character like this. But, you know, obviously we all have to make the adjustments. Now, right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a map, and finally I find one. Now, most of the time I try to find the map as quickly as possible just so I know 100% where things are, so I can see the items that people drop, because mind you, if you do drop an item and people do not have a map, then they're not going to be able to see it unless they are in a very close vicinity compared to everything else. So right here I decide I'm going to go ahead and drop the fuse, and unfortunately I dropped my bat first, so that way other people can see where it is and they can pick it up and try to repair it, since it's got to be in some of those 4 cabins that are in that vicinity. So we're going to run it out, and I have my trusty little pocket knife so we can see where we're going to go. Now let's run into these cabins, and obviously it looks like someone was potentially already in here. And I can see somebody picked up the fuse, and crap, I went ahead and I found the fuse. Now, so normally if there are people that are around you and you see that someone has picked up the fuse, the best recourse to do is, even if you are a low repair character, thankfully picking up the phone to make the call does not require any special skill. The only thing that will be beneficial is obviously if you have the perk My Dad's a Cop, then you can obviously reduce the time to be able to make that call. But normally I like to make the 2-man kind of party to go fix the fuse. Now, I saw somebody fixing it, and I obviously jumped out on accident. I didn't mean to do that, and so now I'm just waiting by the phone. Now, it went ahead and it got fixed, and I'm making the call. This makes it
Voorhees
easier simply because if someone messes up on the phone repair, Jason is immediately alerted, and he's going to immediately morph to that area. Now, as you can see here, I don't have my dad's a cop, so we got to wait the full 5 minutes. Now, once Jason morphs to that area, normally the first thing he's going to do is he's going to just break the box, which means that call goes dead at whatever point you are at, which means you have to repair it again and do it again, which, let me tell you, sucks. So normally with the 2-man team doing the phone repair, it makes it easier because someone can kind of distract him, at least either stun him or keep him away from the box long enough in order for the call to be made. That way you save yourself a little bit of time. Now there goes someone jumping in through a window. Obviously they have an item. I tend to try to stay in the vicinity, and they just open the door by accident, and now I have to hurry up and close it before this guy goes ahead and kills us. Thankfully, obviously there's a little downtime on that, and oh, somebody went out the window and they died, and now I have blood all over myself, and then it went away apparently. So I tend to try and stay near the front of the building just so I can kind of have an idea of where the Jason is. I don't like to immediately just like leave, simply because he may just like spawn or shift toward me. I see somebody has the car and I'm like, oh, they're coming, and of course the Jason tricked me. He broke the door down, and then I jumped out the window at the wrong time, and he's right there to grab me. Thankfully I have the trusty pocket knife, so it buys me some time to get away. So right now we have 3 minutes and 30 seconds before the cops are going to arrive. So whenever it's fairly early on in the game, as it is, it's only been about a couple of minutes that have actually gone by since the game started. When that happens, normally most of the cabins haven't been rummaged through, and things are still available to protect yourself. So try to kind of have an idea of where you're going and basically make a beeline towards each individual cabin in a zigzag type of manner, so that way you're not just cornering yourself in one place. Now, you can try to take a very defensive approach and just hunker down in one cabin, but depending on how many people are still alive, that may not be the best course of action. So right now I saw how many people were alive, and it looks like there's only 3 additional people because Tommy has seemed to arrived on the scene already. So what I tend to try to do, and what I learned the hard way many times with Tiffany, is I tend to put as many windows or doors in my path away from Jason, since he has to break through them in order to get me. Now, I normally stay towards the window in this direction, because if he breaks through that door, then I know that he still has to walk towards me, and immediately I can jump out and run to another cabin. Now, some Jasons may immediately morph outside and then shift towards you. Obviously, if you can, try to do it as quickly as possible, so that way you don't put yourself in a situation. Now, the only bad thing is having to open these. Now, he almost got me there because he morphed right to that front door, and he could have shift grabbed me, but he missed, I believe, which that's good for me. I have just another minute 45 basically to survive. Now, most people would try to get to the main road as quickly as possible, and that is a very feasible plan. However, right now, with the fact that I'm not so comfortable with Tiffany in this game, I want to be in as many cabins as possible to get as many weapons or items to protect myself. So I see that there is a person around here, and as I always recommend, it's kind of douchey, but you know, go to another player and maybe it'll make it a little easier for you both to survive. So thankfully I found some health spray, and there is a pocket knife in here, so that makes it good. You know, always try to loot. I know it's kind of tense because Jason is right behind me, so there's no time for sightseeing when it comes to being in these cabins, but sometimes taking that extra second to look into a cabin's, you know, drawers or anything like that can sometimes save your life. So make sure to do that if at all possible. Now, I never like to be stuck in these back rooms like this. As you can see, there is no alternative exit besides the windows that are near the front, since this back window does not actually let you jump out of it since it's locked. Try not to stay in the back sections of cabins like that, because you will put yourself in a very bad position, simply because Jason could go ahead, break down this door, and if you don't lock the other door or he breaks it down as well, he can just very easily shift into the room and then you're cornered with no recourse. So I went ahead and set down a trap, and I'm going to stay in here until that timer runs down, so that way I know exactly where I need to run and where I need to go. So I hear someone getting choked out near me, and I'm trying to focus, and I see where the police are going, and it's time to run. I see it's the Tommy that's right next to me, and let's go. So I see he's running back, and I feel bad. I'm like, okay, come on. But now I see that they're close, and I'm like, oh, that's maybe not such a good idea. So that's another mistake. Don't do that. That's utterly stupid. To be honest, teamwork is great and all, but when it comes to being one of the few people left alive in this situation, just go. If you can see that you're making a break for the exit and he's chasing after somebody else, just go. As you can see, this Tommy obviously has either an issue with me or is not really sure what they're doing with themselves, since they went ahead and wasted that shotgun shot on me. At this point in this game, I'm thinking that he's teaming up with the Jason. And here, oh crap, Jason's got me. But thankfully we have the pocket knife that we got back in the bathroom. So here we go, running. Now this is another mistake that I'm doing. I am burning up all of her stamina right now. It's really easy to just get panicky and use it and think that it's going to be the best way to escape, and sometimes it isn't, simply because Jason can very easily shift behind you or morph, and then you're there. I always like to flip the camera around at this point, depending on how close he is, so I can kind of make sure I don't get grabbed, and I keep swiveling back and forth, and thankfully I don't get grabbed. Sometimes, depending on the Jason, they will not be able to run, so you can at least kind of pseudo jog your way at that point and just get to the exit as quickly as possible. Thankfully, this is an exit that was closer to the inside than most. Some of them you actually have to cross the bridge like halfway or 3/4 of the way, and let me tell you, I've died many a times as Tiffany and other characters because I ran out of stamina and I get killed mid-bridge. Now, at this point, I really am feeling in this match that this Tommy is teaming with this Jason, simply because he has this opportunity here to kill him, and he does not. He's kind of just trolling him, it seems like, and kind of just messing around with him, and I'm not sure if it's intentional or if he's just really being daft and not wanting to kill him. Now, frankly, I always find this really stupid to do. It wastes time for everyone in the lobby, especially because this Tommy was already at the exit. All he had to do was cross over the threshold and be done with it. So if you can, and you're there for the escape, just leave. We don't want to see the dancing. We don't want to see the teabagging. It's not fun. It really isn't. Trust me, you're not original. After the 100th time, I've seen plenty of people do it, and it doesn't make it any funnier. And as you can see, they're still going at it. We've already, everyone else has either died or escaped, and these people are still going at it. He's attacking him, and here comes the teabag, of course. As if anything could be any different. And here they go. Now he's running back and forth. I mean, so he went ahead and he took off his mask, which I guess that's good. He went ahead and gave us an additional 50 XP, but at what point does 50 XP constitute another 3 minutes of gameplay that no one gets to play because everyone has either died or escaped? And here we go, and nothing's happening. I click on that timer to obviously see when I'm spectating, so I can see how much time we're really still gonna wait for this guy. Thankfully, the Jason finally takes care of the job and kills the Tommy. So there you have it. I survived with Tiffany. Let me know what you think. I know I made quite a bit of mistakes. I've not used her at all, and I'm not really sure if I'm willing to go back to her just quite yet. Let me know what you think about the video. Comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will see you guys at another video.